Alright, so we got a walk-in cooler. That's the issue. The compressor is not coming on. It's got two evaporators. Seeing like maybe oil everywhere. Yeah, look at this. It's super oily. So I'm assuming we're probably off on low pressure. Let's see if we can check that real quick. Oh, the contactor's pulled in. Getting 244. It's passing. So the compressor is getting proper voltage. So I'm going to check the starting components. We're going to go ahead and power it down. Alright, so we're reading 54. This is a 60 MFD. That's for our compressor. So its capacitor is good. I'm going to go ahead and hook up the gauges. Alright, so we got 110 standing PSI. This is POE oil, so it's either 404 or 407. But yeah, there's just a crazy amount of, I don't know if this is oil, but it does seem like oil. I think we're probably leaking somewhere right here. But let's just give it a shit. It's not pumping either. Sounds like it's running backwards. It's not three-phase. Okay. Power's off. So, very carefully, I'm going to apply power and check on this Molex plug to see if we're getting proper voltage. Okay, so we got power back on. No voltage in between there. 240 there. 240 there. So look at our Molex plug. It looks like we're missing between start. Okay. Alright, so I checked the wiring and it's all good. We're getting proper voltage. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on and watch the amps because it sounds like it's pulling lock rotor. Internally, it just shut off internally. Okay, ohm it out again. So earlier when I was ohming, I was using continuity. Whenever you touch it, beeps. I found that it works good, but usually it doesn't give you accurate ohms, at least on my crappy meter. You can see it's a little broken. Right now it's off on overload, so we're just waiting, but listen when you move the compressor. You can hear the refrigerant leak. So most likely what's been going on here is you can see all the oil. We've got lots of oil everywhere. It's been leaking, especially when it runs. It's going to vibrate and leak like this. So it's been leaking, got low on refrigerant, and then this has probably been short cycling on low pressure, which has just killed the compressor. Or it could just be a bad compressor, but. So here's your leak. And if you move the suction, it gets way worse. It looks to me like it's just rubbed out on the metal right there. Okay, got 1.7 between common and run. Okay, common and start. We got 0.7, and then I start to run, we have 2.3. So I mean, those are pretty decent ohm ratings. There's nothing crazy there. Go to ground, nothing. See if I can find a good ground here. There's a good ground right here. Nothing. Okay, so it's not grounded. So at this point, I'm gonna use Copeland Mobile, pull up, get the basic tonnage, and see if I can put a start capacitor in here. But you know, we're definitely gonna have to fix the leak at some point. I don't want to try a start capacitor because it's having issues on startup, so maybe a start capacitor will allow it to come on. Alright, so this number right here, it's the first one after the 229. It's your BTUs. So I did confirm on the mobile app, 29,000 BTU. It's almost a 2.5 ton. So this is a hard start kit that I have. It's for 1 to 3 ton. Super easy to install, but we're just gonna put it in place, and we're gonna see if the compressor will actually run properly. So now with the hard start kit in play, I'm gonna test it and just see if the startup amps are better. Okay, so it did help it start up, but it was running a constant 124 amps, and our pressures did not even change. So this is gonna be a bad compressor. So I'm gonna follow up whenever I'm actually out here to either repair it or replace it. It's a new customer, so most likely they're gonna wanna repair it. But we're gonna just go give them a quote and we'll take it from there. All right, so we're back this morning. I got the new compressor. I got all the parts I need. I'm gonna actually straight pipe the suction filter. You're not supposed to leave those in permanently. And the system's completely flat, so we're gonna pull a good deep vacuum. We're gonna swap the dryer, compressor, capacitor, contactor, and the leak right here. So I'm gonna start by unsweating. I'm gonna cut out the filter dryer, but everything else I'm just gonna unsweat. So I got it sanded, I put flux to let it come out smoother. Right now I'm just purging out all the old vapor and oil. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab the torches with the rosebud tip and start unsweating everything. Alright, got the old compressor, the old valve out, got the new one in place. This one, it's not the OEM one. They wanted this cooler up as quick as possible because it's their only cooler. So I was able to get a ball valve that will line up for them. Got the heat blocking putty. I'm going to wait to do these until I get this secured. Some more heat blocking, and we'll go ahead and braze it in. Alright, so I got new flex on there. Got the filter dryers going that way. Just need to braze up right here. Gonna braze this and then this. And then we should be good to go ahead and try to start a vacuum. I got everything finished brazing, and now we are and a pressure test. I got bubbles on all of my new joints here. Just see. Not seeing any bubbles on this one. Not the prettiest brazed joints, but if they're holding, they're golden. This one looks good as well. Not really seeing anything. I can't lie, this one was not easy to braze, but it looks like it's holding. Alright. See nothing on the discharge section. Alright. We're only at about 30 psi. I'm going to go ahead and pump it up, and we'll watch it for like 20 minutes and a pressure test. So I got the pressures equalized at about 217. I honestly would not be surprised if the downstairs evaporators are leaking because it's old R22. Main thing, I just want to make sure all my braze joints are good, and I did bubble test them and they all passed. So we're just going to watch a pressure test for a little bit. While it's doing a pressure test, I might fix up some of the wiring, try to make it a little better. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but and then I still have got to change the starting components, and then we'll start the evacuation. Alright, so it's been 12 minutes and we're actually at 218 now, so it's went up in pressure, so we are good. We're going to go ahead and start the vacuum. Alright, I'm just using a little Widowmaker. Always be careful when you're using these, just to get some power because there's no outlet. We got 2 3/8 hoses. One goes to a Schrader core. That way we can pull through there. We're going to pull through here with the big 3/8 hose. I've got the micron gauge on the discharge line, and then I'm also going to pull through the liquid through the gauges on this side. That way it's in a vacuum whenever we go to add our gas. So we're going to go ahead and turn it on. Now we're just going to let it run. Once it gets a little lower, I'll open this one. Alright, so I relocated this, make it a little better. Got the new cap in. These wires are just a mess, so I just pushed them in, just zip tied them up the best I could. Got the new contactor in here. And so yeah. Alright, so I switched the vacuum up a little bit because that discharge core right there, the Schrader is not pushing in. So I just moved it over here. I pretty much just took this out of the circuit. It's still hooked there, but it's closed off. So we're going to pull the vacuum, okay, test. It says 5,500. But I went ahead, I double zipped this, that way it doesn't hit the discharge line. Double zipped it here. Just trying to kind of prevent some rub outs. This. And then right here, zip it. Label it, that way the next guy knows. Put them everywhere. One down there. Right about 454. We're going to go ahead and decay test, close it off, isolate, and then we'll watch that, make sure it doesn't climb too high. Alright, so it came up, it's dropping back down. I don't expect it to be perfectly below 500, but it's a good vacuum, so we're going to go ahead and add some refrigerant now. Manual says with 407C, you need at least 20 pounds. We're just going to put as much as it'll let us, and then we'll fire it up. Alright, I got the scale zeroed out, the refrigerant here. We're still closed, we're in a vacuum. I'm just going to purge up as a liquid up to here. Liquid, close it. I'll just let it eat. See how much gas it'll take. We're charging through the liquid side since it's off, and then once we turn it on, we'll start charging through the suction. Alright, we're at 10 pounds, almost 11 pounds. This bottle just emptied. It wasn't full. I'm going to go ahead and grab a different one, switch it. Alright, we're sitting right at about 17 pounds. It's not really taking much more, so I'm going to go ahead, we're going to fire it up. I'll put the solenoid back, and we're going to start charging through the low side. I got the amp clamp on the new compressor. Solenoid's back on. Gauges are on. It is calling downstairs, so we're just gonna apply some power and see what happens. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so it's looking pretty good. We got about 13 amps. Pressures are pretty decent, 18. We're just gonna let it run for a while because it's super hot in there. Unfortunately, my sight glass is kind of hard to see, but we're basically just gonna get a clear sight glass. Once we have a clear sight glass, I expect probably like a 20-30 superheat at the compressor, and then we'll go down to each evaporator and get the true superheat. That'll be when it's closer to box temperature, when it's about 40 degrees. I'll check the superheat, and I want it in between, somewhere between like 5 and 12. I'm really looking for like 8 or 9 superheat at 40 degrees on both evaporators. If it's not there, then we'll make adjustments. But right now we just kind of got a long ways of waiting to go. Alright, so our superheat's a little low. Our saturation is pretty close. It's about 25 above ambient. So I'm gonna go down to the boxes and check the true superheat at the evaporators. I have a feeling, since this is 407C, those are R22 TXZs, whoever installed this condensing unit probably didn't adjust them, which is why the first compressor probably took a crap. So we're gonna go check that, and we will see how it looks. Alright, we're at the evaporator now, so we're gonna check. Unfortunately, there's no port here, so we're just going to get the temperature from the evaporators and use the pressure up top. It's 65 in here right now. We've got a 2 superheat on this one. And this one also has a 2 superheat, so we're most likely going to need to make some adjustments. Alright, so this is how you adjust it. We're going to rotate it clockwise. It's going to strengthen the spring pressure, allow less refrigerant to flow. I always like to put a little mark on it and then just do little quarter turns. So I know how much I adjusted it. Alright, so it's about 55 degrees in the box. Both of the superheats at the box, I couldn't check the pressure due to there not being a port, so I just used the pressure out here and used the temperature downstairs. We had about a 4 superheat, like a 2 to a 4 on both, so I went ahead and adjusted them. I have moved them clockwise, as you've seen in the little last short, and now we've got a 27 superheat at our compressor, so it's looking better out here. I'm probably going to end up adding more gas. Try to get a full column of liquid to that metering device because it is flashing a little bit. So we're going to do that, but it's looking pretty good so far. Alright, so it says it's about 82 outside. I'm reading a little higher on mine. It's like 89, but we're right at the discharge for the condenser. So 82 plus 25, that puts you at 107. So we're right there on the high side. Low side's a 32.6 VSAT, which is pretty close. It's come down in temperature since. It's probably about 52 degrees in there, 50 degrees. But we're gonna touch back as soon as it gets about 40 degrees in the box, and we'll check those superheats and make sure that they're on point, and then we should be all set on this one. That's how it came out. Alright, so I'm heading out for the walk-in cooler. It's at 50 degrees. We've got a 29 superheat at the compressor, and then both evaporators have a 15 superheat. So that's all I'm going to do for today. I'm going to follow up tomorrow and see that it reached box temperature and make sure that the superheat is good at both evaporators. back today. Everything's looking pretty good. We've got a 19 vapor saturation, 407C, the 38 superheated our compressor. So downstairs, I went and just checked it. It is about 35 degrees on the furthest left side of the box and about 35 degrees on the furthest right side of the box. But right in the middle where the temperature controller is, it's about 39 degrees. If we do the math, it's a cooler 39 minus 20 gives us about a 19 VSAT. So we're right there, perfect. I showed what the superheats were. They were pretty good on evaporator 1 and evaporator 2. So I'm just gonna watch it satisfy, and then we should be all good on this one. Here it is, it's pumping down. It's getting low. Alright, well, it's satisfied. Looks a little different because I got my high side on there. But yeah, so this one's good. It just satisfied. Box temperature hit 36, so everything seems to be operational. That's gonna be pretty much it for this one. Appreciate y'all hanging out for the adventure.